All right. So here we go. Elite or not elite? Clock is running. Let's start with Tua.
Elite.
Okay. Justin Herbert.
Not elite.
Joe Burrow.
Elite.
Russell Wilson.
Oh, God. Was elite, not elite.
Lamar Jackson.
Pass.
We'll come back to that. Brock Purdy.
Not elite.
Dak Prescott.
Not elite.
So that means then that we have to bring back to Lamar Jackson. Is Lamar Jackson elite or not elite?
Yeah, man. This might be the toughest one. I will go elite. I'll go elite. I'll just go elite.
Well, you went too long. I think we ended up at about 1:04 on that, but
Okay.
but there you go. So this is actually very interesting because talking about this on CBS Sports, they said Tua, Joe Burrow, Lamar Jackson, all elite. Justin Herbert, Russell Wilson, Brock Purdy, Dak Prescott, not elite. So they actually
That was
matched
the
exactly
exact
what you
same thing.
said.
That is hilarious. Well, we are experts in our field.
That's right.
So.
People don't realize
Yeah.
it, but yes, if you're listening to the show, you are listening to seasoned experts. And look, I think it's interesting. I agree with you that Lamar's tricky. Part of it too, and you said this in the beginning, and we could just take a couple quick minutes to expand on this, but is what do you consider? What is the parameter for elite? Because, are you only looking at it as pure passer? Are you looking at it as total weapon? I mean, if you're just looking at pure talent, well, Justin Herbert is an elite talent.
Oh, yeah.
But he
They're
doesn't.
all, yeah, I would say they're all elite talent. Purdy, I think it's two. I mean, you couldn't say that after what's he played? 12 games. I mean, no.
Yeah. It's too early.
So potential, I guess. Can they lead to be an elite quarterback? For me, your team has to consistently be in the hunt. I don't care how good you are or how bad your team is. You have to be consistently. We've talked about this many times. Like Peyton Manning, outside of Marvin Harrison, Reggie Wayne, there was a rotation of wide receivers that would come in there, right?
Absolutely.
I mean, and there was always talks. He made his wide receivers better. He makes his wide receivers better. And Reggie Wayne, Hall of Famer, in my opinion. Of course, Marvin Harrison. Already, Hall of Famer, no doubt about that stuff.
But Austin Collie, not a Hall of Famer by
not
any
a Hall
stretch.
of Famer.
Put up
Pierre
some big
Garcon,
numbers.
not a Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
Dallas Clark, not a Hall of Famer. Very good player. And then the other part would be if you take them off of the team, what would they be? What would the team be?
Yeah.
So if you let's say 10 win team, if you take them off of that team, what would their records be? And I think that's what was difficult with Lamar, is because the team fared pretty well in his absence, and he didn't, hasn't finished the past couple of seasons out. So that was really my only hang up with him. Outside of that, I mean, he's the MVP. I mean, you can't be MVP and not be elite. But you take them off of that team. What is the team? And you take Dak off the team. Well, the team's not really built around Dak. I mean, that team is built around that defense, running the ball. So no, I mean, Dak would be difficult. Like, could he be elite? Maybe. But I mean, you take Tua off of that Dolphins team. I don't know that Dolphins team is explosive and as good as as they were. And look what happened last year when he got hurt. I mean, that team that team fell off. I mean, they fell off big time. So that's kind of a couple things that I would look at is how good would the team be without him, and how can they consistently lead the team and be in contention. So Burrow, yeah, I mean, say what you want about Burrow, but the dude's very talented. This year, he's been hurt, and that makes a big difference. But overall,
he hasn't been playing elite this year,
right?
But in general, he's a pretty elite guy.
Exactly.
And one thing too that I'll add, just as we get ready to wrap up here, is a couple little stats that I saw. And we're talking about elite and Lamar Jackson. We touched on it earlier that Lamar completed over 77% of his passes on Sunday. I saw the stat and I thought it was really interesting. Kind of ties into what we're talking about, that Lamar Jackson completed 77.6% of his passes and threw for 3 touchdowns and 357 yards without turning the ball over, including 36 yards and a score running on the ground. He's the first player since at least 1950 to reach each of those thresholds in a game, and he did it against a team that's 5-1. He also joined Drew Brees as the only qualified passer since 1950 with multiple career games with a passer rating of at least 150 and a rushing touchdown. So I thought that was kind of interesting. So it's kind of like, again, the Lamar version of elite is different than the Peyton Manning version of elite, right? 100%. There's no doubt about that. So it's one that I struggle with a little bit. The rest of them I thought were pretty easy. Lamar, like Tua, the only reason I struggle with it is he elite already? And, and because of the health issues, because he hasn't played a lot, and, it's like, is he definitively elite? But within the confines of that system that they've built in Miami that seems to serve him very, very well, that Mike McDaniel has put together there, it does seem like Tua has the ability to play like an elite quarterback. And, I look at an elite quarterback as someone who, on a yearly basis, there's a high likelihood that they will be in the conversation for MVP. And, Tua's that guy, whereas Dak is not going to be the MVP. And Justin Herbert has no signs of being the MVP anytime soon. So, Joe Burrow, definitely. Lamar already has been and is in the conversation again. Tua certainly could be, based on how things are continuing to play out if he stays healthy.